All right, let's dive into another deep dive. This time, we're flipping things on their head, literally, with Richard Brome's The Antipodes,
Ah, a 17th century satirical comedy.
using all those great excerpts you sent over.
The prologue, character list, and some really interesting scenes.
You know, it's amazing how playwrights from way back then
Mm.
can still make us think about our own society today.
It is remarkable how they hold up a mirror.
So, we jump right in with a dedication to a lord, reminding us about that whole patron system.
Yeah, right away, front and center.
How do you see that fitting in with, all the societal upheaval that Brome's going to explore?
It's interesting, isn't it? On the one hand, he's acknowledging that he needs these wealthy patrons to support his work, but on the other hand, he's about to really dig into some subversive ideas.
It's like he's winking at the audience.
Exactly, a little nudge and a wink.
Now, the prologue is almost like Brome having a chat with the audience directly.
Straightforward, right to the point.
It seems like he's kind of taking a shot at the popular theater of his time,
Oh, absolutely.
daring people to enjoy a witty play instead of all the spectacle.
He wants substance over flash, which was a pretty bold move.
I bet.
Especially when those flashy plays were all the rage back then.
It makes you wonder how that went over with everyone.
I'm sure some people weren't too thrilled.
All right, before we get into the main plot, can we talk about these characters?
Oh, the characters.
These names are just fantastic. Joyleth, the jealous old husband, Diana, his young and witty wife,
Yeah, and their son, Peregrine.
who seems to really believe those travel books a little too much,
Ah, yes. Peregrine and his obsession with Mandeville's tales.
which really makes you question his sanity, right?
Well, Mandeville's book was known for being outlandish, blurring fact and fiction, so it makes sense that Brome would use that to make fun of people who believe anything they read.
So is Peregrine really mad or just a product of all those wild stories?
A bit of both, perhaps.
And then we have this Lord Latoy and the mysterious Dr. Hugh Ball,
Intriguing characters.
whose method of curing Peregrine is a little unconventional, to say the least.
Staging a whole journey to the Antipodes. That's pretty out there.
What's he really up to?
Well, on the surface, he seems like a reasonable guy, trying to help Peregrine see reality, but by playing into Peregrine's delusion, he really blurs the lines.
It makes you wonder about what a cure really is.
And if Hugh Ball is more of a performer than a doctor?
He's got that method acting energy.
Maybe a bit.
So Peregrine thinks he's in the Antipodes, and this is where Brome's satire really shines.
This is where things get turned upside down.
Everything is inverted, not just physically, but like societal norms too.
Wives have the power, old men are in school, servants act like gentlemen. It's chaos, but like a funny kind of chaos.
It's like he's saying, what if we just flipped the script on everything?
Yeah, and by doing that, he exposes how absurd the social norms of his time really were.
Like that scene with the woman coming home from a fencing duel all bloody.
And her husband's the one being scolded.
It's hilarious, but also it makes you think.
It's a really clever way to make a point.
Like, why are those the roles we expect men and women to have?
Why is that considered normal?
Exactly.
He's challenging gender roles and the inequalities of his time.
I'm making us laugh while he does it.
Comedy as social commentary, brilliant.
It's wild how Brome doesn't just stop at, like, the big picture stuff.
Yeah, he gets into the details.
Servants being witty and eloquent while the gentlemen are kind of clueless.
Flipping the script completely.
So, is he really advocating for, like, a total societal shakeup, or just pointing out the flaws in his own world?
A good question.
Feels like he's saying, hey, maybe there's another way.
A subtle critique for sure.
And then you have Joyleth and his jealousy, which really drives the whole plot.
A major driving force, yeah.
It's interesting how Brome connects that to Peregrine's quote-unquote madness,
They're both kind of obsessed in a way.
consumed by their own fixations.
Joyleth's so afraid of being cheated on, he can't even see his wife for who she is.
And Diana's really interesting in all this.
Oh yeah, she's a fascinating character.
Clearly smart, strong-willed.
But she uses her wit to kind of poke at her husband's insecurities.
Like that scene where she's praising the wives in the Antipodes.
Oh, brilliant scene.
Had me cracking up.
Total dramatic irony.
We know she's teasing him, but he's too caught up in his own head to see it.
Exactly.
Is she doing it on purpose? Or is she just expressing what she really wants?
I think it's a mix of both. She's a product of her time, but she still finds ways to assert herself.
It raises some interesting questions about women in power back then.
For sure.
And in the end, She's proven to be completely faithful.
Her virtue is clear.
But the real turning point for Joylef is when he finds out about Diana's parentage.
Ah, yes, that big reveal.
Such a clever twist.
Completely dismantles his jealousy.
He's been torturing himself over nothing.
Over a phantom threat.
And Diana's reaction in that moment, so powerful.
No gloating, no revenge.
Just emphasizing the meaning of the word husband.
And the respect it deserves.
A reminder that trust should be at the heart of any marriage.
And that it can survive even the worst accusations.
Okay, we've talked about all the inversions, but what about the ending? Does everything just go back to normal?
Well, on the surface, yeah, Peregrine's cured and order is restored.
But has anything really changed?
That's the question, isn't it? It feels like something has shifted, at least for Joylef.
He's learned something from all this.
About himself, about his biases.
And he chooses to trust his wife.
A more balanced perspective.
Which brings us to the whole play within a play thing.
Yes, the theatricality of it all.
Why do you think Brome does that?
To blur the lines between reality and illusion, I think.
It's so smart. He's reminding the audience that they're watching a performance.
Making them question what's real.
And what's just make-believe.
Don't take anything at face value, he's saying.
Not even the world you think you know.
Think critically, he's urging us.
And let's not forget the visuals, the costumes, the props, all that spectacle.
Adds to the humor, for sure.
Those old men going to school, hilarious.
With their little satchels and that rhyme.
Makes fun of them, but also makes them human.
Are they the real fools? He's asking.
And byplay, pretending to be a judge.
A sly critique of the legal system.
With a wink and a nod.
Brome really uses humor to expose hypocrisy.
Like in that banquet scene.
Where the courtiers are the rude ones.
And the working class characters are all witty and refined.
Another reversal of expectations.
What if true nobility isn't about your birth, but your character?
Exactly. It's a question that resonates even today.
That's what makes this play so great, you can laugh at it.
You enjoy the pure entertainment.
But there's also this deeper layer.
A commentary on human nature.
And the way we build our societies.
The Antipodes is a play that works on multiple levels.
It's like even though this play is set in this crazy upside-down world.
Hey, this topsy-turvy land.
The ending doesn't feel like everyone just goes back to how things were before.
Not a complete reset.
Like something's changed.
Yeah, a shift.
They've all been through something, you know?
It's more than just Peregrine being cured or Joylef getting over his jealousy.
It's like everyone finds a kind of balance.
A restoration of harmony.
And that last scene with the dance of discord and harmony
really brings it home.
It's like a battle between chaos and order playing out right there.
A visual representation.
You've got discord and all her buddies, folly and jealousy and melancholy.
Madness, too.
Wreaking havoc.
But then they vanish.
And harmony wins out with wit and love, wine and health.
A triumph of reason and virtue.
But it's not like a simple good defeats evil kind of thing, is it?
Not at all.
It feels like those darker impulses are always going to be there, lurking.
Waiting to mess things up.
A more realistic view of, human nature.
Absolutely. We all have those darker sides.
But Brome seems to be saying that we can keep them in check.
With wit and love and maybe a little celebration.
Don't take life too seriously, right?
Which is kind of ironic, given all the serious stuff he's talking about.
Yeah, it's a comedy, but it's also really deep.
That's what makes it so relevant, I think.
You can enjoy it on the surface.
Laugh at the jokes, the craziness.
But then there's this whole other level.
It makes you think about who we are, how we build our societies.
So after spending time in this world where everything's flipped,
You settle down.
what do you think Brome wants us to take away from it all?
Is it just a fun escape, or is there something more?
A deeper message.
I think it's both, honestly.
He wants us to laugh, sure.
But also to see things differently.
Question everything.
The way things are, the power structures.
Like maybe things don't have to be this way.
Maybe a little upside-down thinking is what we need.
A little Antipodes in our lives.
Sometimes you gotta flip things on their head to see them clearly.
So to all our listeners, next time you feel stuck,
In a rut,
try a little Antipodes thinking.
shake things up.
Question your assumptions.
And don't forget to laugh.
Who knows, maybe they'll help you find some solutions.
Right side up solutions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Antipodes.